on going on. I have a lovely little list here. We kind of broke order a little bit just to be respectful and stuff, but now we're back to the order of things. So next is actually going to be Melissa Nordbeck for County Commission District 2.
All right.
Thank you. Hi, thanks for having me. Again, Melissa Nordbeck for District 2 County Commission. My story starts, I've lived in District 2 my entire life. I do what you're supposed to do. You vote, you raise your family, you work, you are part of your church, you're part of your community. Just living my life, minding my own business. And all of a sudden, on February 2022, I was riding my horse, and I saw survey markers on a tree. And I was not aware of any development that was supposed to be on that acreage. I'm pretty up on land use issues. So I started calling the county to ask questions. That's what you're supposed to do as a citizen. And as I started making phone calls and talking to people, the reaction I got just, of course, sends off your spidey senses because there was a lot of pushback. I finally found out that there was a development that was planned for that plot of land back in 1991. And the government, my government, told me that because it was approved in 1991, they do not have to give public notice now. It was given back in 1991. So that was the first answer that put me on pause. And I said, well, what about, just even if you're not required to give notice from 32 years ago, why wouldn't you? The citizens were contacting you, we're telling you we're concerned about this. So again, just more pushback, start digging more and more and more. And I finally got to the point where I was asking questions that were making them extremely uncomfortable. And there was silence on the phone when I hit a legal question, and I was told, what are you gonna do about it? That's a direct quote from a senior director in downtown county center.
Really?
Yes.
I'll be take that some again.
Yeah, I wish I had. So I got together with a group. I'm again part of my civic association, Keystone Civic Association. I got together with groups of my neighbors and started talking to them and saying, what do you want to do about this? Are we just going to take this? I know I'm not going to. And we actually found a group of plaintiffs, and we sued the county over this development. And what I learned during that process was, yes, the lawsuit was about the development, but the real core issue that I discovered while we were putting very senior people downtown under deposition was the actual problem was due process. The complete lack of due process for citizens in this county, for county government, is by design. The quiet part out loud under deposition is citizens are a nuisance.
Oh.
Citizens slow down the process. Citizens just don't understand what we're trying to do when we're planning for the county. And we do everything we possibly can to avoid public notice and to avoid public hearings. We make administrative approvals, we have several meetings, and by the time you actually get to see a blue and yellow sign for development, or you get a letter in the mail, there has been at least a year's worth of back and forth with the county and the developer or the project, whatever it is, and that needs to change. So now that I realize the actual issue is due process, running for county commission, one of the things I want to do immediately is start implementing change at lots of different levels on lots of different processes from the beginning of the process. You get your 3 minutes, you get your pat on your head at your public hearing, and then they go to the second public hearing, you get your other 3 minutes, and then they get to the third public hearing, and we're done here. It is all a formality, and that it needs to change. Citizens need to be involved from the very beginning of the process and several steps throughout the process, no matter what the situation is. Back in the day, yes, you had to put a letter in an envelope and put a stamp on it and mail it, and I understand that was cost effective and labor intensive. That is not the case anymore. It's 2024. We have email. You should be able to opt in for anything that you would be interested in hearing about from your county, whether it's how do I sign up for a hearing. No matter what it is, you should be able to opt in for that, and the county should be responding to you, how can I help you? And that is not the attitude downtown. The second is definitely transparency. When I ask for public records, it is offensive and borderline criminal how public records requests are handled. I found out under deposition that there's a secret meeting every Thursday. And I call it a secret meeting because Pasco County has their development review committee meetings online. And public comment. Pinellas County, the same thing.
Wow.
When I found out that Hillsborough County has this meeting every Thursday, I was told it does not violate sunshine because it is not an actual committee. It's just whatever group of employees are available on that Thursday to be on the call.
Sorry,
Well,
it's public, it's still public, so they are. violating
Exactly. I
sunshine.
have 2 years of agendas because every single 2 weeks, I do a public records request for that DRC meeting for the previous 2 weeks. It is always the same group of employees, and you can see the projects as they're coming through the pipeline, and who the developer is, where the project is, and that is well before, we're talking 6 to 8 months before you would be able to find out as a citizen in this area.
Can you
Way before that blue and yellow sign comes up.
Thank
Did you have a question?
What I was saying, can you wrap?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I just have to tell
Yeah,
you. You
so
know what I mean?
basically, it's changing the process to have citizen involvement. It is due, to get more public notice out there that you're required to have. It is transparency. I actually got one of my own documents back when I did a records request, and it had to be a new low. It just really had to be. And the other issue is the term limit loophole. Right now, my opponent has been in a term limit seat for 22 years. And the reason for that is because the way that it is written in the charter, you can run for a district seat for 2 terms, and you can run for a countywide for terms. All you need to do is change that county language to and or, and we close this loophole, which I think is what the voters requested when they voted for it. When they voted for it, yes.
Okay, cool.
So
I'm gonna
any
wrap up
questions?
and stuff. Yes. You have one question.
Yeah, this is fascinating, and if you have a question about development, this is the lady to ask. And the fact that was over 30 years old, and it was still good, there is no state statute of limitations on a development?
Well,
I think
because
there's for
of,
DRIs.
yeah, because of the lawsuit, they won't admit it, but the planning commission realized that there was a legal problem here. It is now on the books that if there is a development that has not progressed after 5 years, you have to start your process over. You're not entitled to the same rights. Our lawsuit was filed May 6, 2022. So that rule does not apply to any development site plan that was filed prior to May 20th of 2022.
That's outrageous. And the
Yes.
whole thing is that.
So they won't admit that it was because of the lawsuit, but yes, there is now a sunset provision, which I was shocked to find out that my county could not have figured out to put a sunset provision for development. I mean, you have building codes, you can't use 30-year-old building codes. Why would you be able to use a 30-year-old site plan that is completely inconsistent with what is going on with the neighborhood where it is now? And the other problem with that too is you always hear, it's a done deal, you can't do anything about it. Well, there have been 3 times that I've been told by county commissioners that it's a done deal, Missy, you can't do anything about it. The Lutz incinerator, the 3-way stop that was supposed to happen and right in front of the racetrack, which I don't even understand that one. And then the third one is the Live Local Act.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Live local.
The Live Local Act is a state law that preempts
Hi, baby.
local communities' rights. And when we talk about preempting and superseding local authority, I have a huge problem with that. We have our own county government here, and we should not have sweeping laws coming out of Tallahassee or the federal level that tell us how we're supposed to manage our local community. And so,
Absolutely right, it's our backyard, we
yeah,
decide what happens.
so there's an affordable housing project, they told me it's a done deal, and I said, and again, what are you gonna do about it? What do you want us to do about it? And I started researching different counties, their live local responses, and submitted those to the county commissioners, and they actually read through those and are now implementing the things that we submitted to them to show them there is a way to fight back on that. In July 17th meeting, there will be one of the preemptions will be voted on, and then at the August 8th meeting, the other two will be voted on, so that we will not have these types of preemptions from Tallahassee on the Live Local Act.
So are you, oh,
I
sorry,
appreciate
I wanted a question,
really
a quick question
wonderful,
about
really
this.
wonderful,
Yeah.
information, really wonderful questions.
Thank
You
you.
have a lot of candidates.
Yes,
that are
right,
very-